Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Sally Pinto and I'm from the Yonkers Newark neighborhood naturally occurring retirement community. We launched back in January of 2020 and we're here to serve seniors 60 plus in Northeast Yonkers. We have lots of fun programs and activities, and we also have a lot of resources for you as well. Our programs include meditation chair yoga, body mind fitness, bingo, and any other programs that you might be interested, like arts and gardening. We have our resource specialist, Alexa Smith, who can help you with finding services and activities out there for you, as well as our nurse, Barbara Simone, who can help answer your health-related questions. We're here for you, we're here for our community, and we look forward to seeing you in our programs. Enjoy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alexa Smith, the resource specialist with the Yonkers Newark. I'm here to help with application assistance, referrals for home delivered meals, and transportation services will be coming soon. We also offer Zoom activities and Zoom programs. And if you have any other questions or concerns, I'm here to help. Thank you so much and enjoy the program.
Welcome. I'm Barbara Simone, registered nurse. I recently retired from Westchester County's Health Department as a public health nurse. I am now here to try to assist you with any medical or preventive care issues. Enjoy this program, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Oh, well, welcome guys to, is it Book Lovers Week, is it?
National Library Week.
National Library Week. Okay, cool, awesome. And you know, one of the things that really affected me and it has really benefited me is a passion for learning and history. And philosophy particularly. You know, a lot of people feel that, like, you know, philosophy is kind of like this academic study or discipline about, like, you know, whether a donut is still a donut if it has a hole in it or not. And it's like, it's not, you know. So a lot of the things, the mentors that I have acquired over a lifetime have been through books and more recently through social media. Being able to kind of find the direction and meaning and guidance from people who have lived hundreds and thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. Mentors don't necessarily have to be in person. You know, a lot of people, I forget, a lot of very influential people over the years have mentioned that a lot of the mentorship that they've received have been through books. And again, through now for me, social media, podcasts and stuff like that. So some people who I begin to know, you know, it's really interesting because, you know, you get to know them. One of the things that I had trouble with, even though I like to read, or I found the value, rather, I'd say, because I didn't really like to read when I was little, but I understood the value of learning from people through books. But there was a disconnect, and I think it's a little appropriate now, even though it's national, I forget the book lovers year, the book lovers week. There was a disconnect. I think it's fair to talk about the disconnect because the people didn't really seem real to me. You know, they were in these pages, but you kind of lack this kind of like this touch, yeah. But now with social media, these folks that I consider mentors, very influential people, very remarkable individuals, you can see them speak, you can hear them, you can, you know, learn about their mannerisms, and they can kind of you get to see them like pretty much as close to live as possible. Like a lot of the people I get to know of now. Are also authors. They write about their lives and that kind of stuff. So the social media component introduces me to them, and then I go out and buy their books and read about their lives. So the 3 books that I have right here in front of me that have influenced me. One is Ryan Holiday's "The Obstacle Is the Way," a tremendous a book. Basically, it takes a stoic spin, stoicism, stoic philosophy. You know, that we always run into adversity in our lives, right? There's always, we're either going into some adversity, coming out of some adversity, or preparing to face adversity. So being able to, so this book has given me a lot of help, examples of leadership of individuals, remarkable people who, because when things happen to us in life, we can't really run away from that kind of stuff. So we have to confront the things the way they are, can't really kind of hide in the corner and, shoulda, coulda, woulda, I wish it wasn't as hard. But Bruce Lee has a really interesting quote. He goes, you can't wish for life to be easier. We can only wish to be stronger. The other one that I have here is The Intelligent Investor, Benjamin Graham. It's a fundamental investment book. It's one of the books that Warren Buffett credits for helping him become arguably one of the best investors in the world. Benjamin Graham was a professor of finance at the business school, at the Columbia Business School, and taught Warren Buffett. And so, yeah, this is Investing 101. It's a pretty thick read, but it's for anybody who's comfortable. You don't have to be an accounting pro, but anybody who's comfortable with accounting concepts, this is really, really good on how to value a company, because the prices in the stock market don't really tell us anything about the value or the intrinsic value, vocabulary word, intrinsic value of the company. So how to kind of find the intrinsic value of a company compared to other companies out there in the market for people who want to take a little bit more control over their personal finance and investing. And the third book I have here is from David Goggins, a very remarkable individual. And this book is called Can't Hurt Me. Very, very troubled youth. In terms of troubled, he was born into a physically violent family. Father was an alcoholic. He faced a lot of racism, sexual harassment, rather, bullying in school, and became very withdrawn, introverted, from a victim's mentality. He got to be like 300 pounds multiple times in his life, but then decided that nobody was going to come and help him. And so he needed to help himself. And he, one of the things that he did was become a Navy SEAL. And, even though I kind of like fast forward into his life, it was a very long road before he was able to do that. And he continues to inspire people because he turned himself into an ultra athlete. So he runs 100-mile races and that kind of stuff. And he does it not necessarily for the physical reward of it, but because he's always training his mind. There's a mental resiliency, mental hardening that happens in these exercise routines. And I found it to be the same thing. We exercise because, people tell us that it's healthy and that it's good. But there is actually the biggest muscle that we're exercising when we exercise in the gym or at home is our mental muscle. That procrastination, or that voice in our head that tells us, no, we could do it tomorrow, or maybe we could just do like a half a workout or something like that. But that little voice is something that we have to, that mental muscle that gets us into the gym, that gets us sweating, that gets us out of our head and into our body, is a muscle that we have to flex on a regular basis. So these are the three books that I'm going to be using, and we're going to be using these as our dumbbells, as our exercise equipment. So we're going to be doing different exercises with these things. So if you have 3 books handy, that'd be good. You kind of be of varying widths and varying weight. Another thing that I really like about this exercise is that kind of one of the things that we've lost over the millennia as humans, right? So we used to engage the world more with our hands, and we're losing a lot of grip. So even at the gym, I have a lot of my clients do basic hanging exercises, because it's funny, we don't have as much strength in our grip in our forearms as we used to have. We used to engage with the world a lot more. We used to pick things up. We used to grab things with our hands. We used to hang from trees, arguably, if you believe in like the theory of evolution, that kind of stuff like that. So this is actually going to help us strengthen our grip up a little bit, which is very, very, very important, arguably kind of help with arthritis and that kind of stuff, to be able to, work our grip and this kind of thing like this. And but before we go into the workout, just one last thing. We were talking before we started recording with Z. I came across this one of these quotes from Socrates, a Greek philosopher that lived something like over 2,000 years ago, about fitness, physical fitness. And he goes, "No person has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It's a shame for a person to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which their body is capable. That's a very interesting concept, yeah? No person has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a person to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which their body is capable. Yeah, because just because, you know, we're not a professional athlete or something like that, doesn't mean that we can become an amateur of physical exertion. You know, we just have to create a routine for ourselves and, you know, and push ourselves, right? Because there are doors that we don't know exist that begin to start opening once we are able to start pushing through some of these self-imposed adversity. Yeah. So, you know, for example, for me, I didn't think, so I got into this burpee challenge last year, and December 31st, I was able to do 1,000 burpees. And I didn't think that was something I was going to be able to do. And so it's a very, very nice surprise that I would have not found out otherwise had I not challenged myself and really pushed myself to certain levels. Okay. Now, blah, blah, blah. Sorry for taking so long. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the workout. So first we're going to stretch out for 5 minutes, and then we are going to incorporate these books into some of these workouts. Now, is there anybody in Z, can you help me? Is there anybody online that's not going to be able to get on the floor?
Yeah, there's a few. So what we should do is we should just do tell us the exercise for people who can be on the floor, and then do an adaptation for a chair. So, you know, you just adapt as you can, and people know their bodies. So we always encourage you, you know, challenge yourself, but know your limit, as everybody is a little different in their body capabilities. So coach will give us some modifications when he can. And we really thank everybody for being here during National Library Week. It's so awesome to see everybody out there.
All right. So with that said, we're going to start with a little bit of stretching. So when we're sitting down reading some books, you know, for me, being in this position, you know, my back starts hurting a little bit. My neck starts hurting a little bit. It starts getting a little tense when I kind of have to look up and stuff like that. But the funny thing is that this whole posterior chain, all the thing that's from our neck actually is connected to our back, connected down to our legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to stretch a little bit so that we can kind of loosen up all the muscles that are connected from our skull all the way down to our legs. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to do some hamstring stretches. So the hamstring stretch, we're going to spread out our legs a little bit wider than our shoulder. And I'm going to bend over, keeping my leg locked. I'm going to bend over to my right. And we're going to hold this stretch for 30 seconds. What I find is that every time I take a big inhale and then exhale, on that exhale, I'm able to go a little bit deeper into that stretch. Good. Switching, slowly come up to center, coming down to the left side. Big deep breath. Locking up the knee, getting a deep stretch. Time. Okay, now we're going to get into what's called cherry pickers. So we're going to do 4 count cherry pickers. So we're going to keep our legs spread out wide, about 1.5 times the width of our shoulders. And the cherry pickers look like this. So we're going to do a 4 count. So we're going to touch the floor as best you could, if you can touch the floor, in the front. And then we're going to come up. There's going to be a bit of a bounce. So the count is 1, 2, 3, and then in the back, we're going to kind of reach back. So that's going to be the 4 count. And then on 4, we're going to come up. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 1. And then we're going to touch the front, middle, back, 2. These are dynamic stretches for our hamstring and our lower back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 8. 3, 9. 1, 2, 3, 10. 1, 2, 3, 11. It's important not to round out our back when we're hitting those cherry pickers, trying to keep that back as straight as possible. So as we do those cherry pickers, try to hinge at the hips, all right? We're done with that, good, okay. Shake your legs out a little bit. Now we're gonna go for a groin muscle stretch. The groin muscle is those inner thigh muscles. So first, what we're gonna do is, if you can possibly get to the floor, we're gonna, again, we're gonna start off with our feet about 1.5 times wider than our shoulders, and then we're gonna lean. I'm leaning to my right in this case. If you can go all the way down to the floor, then fine. But if not, put your hands on your thigh here and give it a good push. Hold your body weight on that side of the leg, so you're not dropping your whole weight. Use that leg, and you're gonna feel that stretch right in here. Right in the inner thigh. All right, nice and easy. If you want, push off that leg. Yeah, now we're going over to the left. You see a lot of people, you can put your elbow on the arm, you can put your hands on that thigh, elbow on the thigh, use it as a little bit of support. Or if you're flexible enough, put your hands on the ground and get a deeper groin stretch. That's time. Oh, okay. So it's important that as we're reading, to get up out of the chair and do a couple of those stretches. It's also important not to depend completely on the stretch, because if those muscles, that's why I like including somewhat dynamic stretches, some of those cherry pickers, because we start pushing blood into the lower back. So if we just rely on stretching without warming up those muscles, then we can pull something. There's a more of a tendency for pulling. So we want to drive some blood into that area. That's why those cherry pickers are really good for that. An initial nice kind of stretch of the hamstrings, and then do some cherry pickers, drive some blood, and then kind of wakes those muscles up. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do here now, we're going to stretch out our upper back. Now, our upper back, for me, when I'm reading a lot or I'm at the desk, I get these like knots in between my shoulder blades, between my trap and my shoulder blades. How we're going to stretch that out, you can either hold your hands like this, or you can interlocking them, push out and round out that back and actually push those hands out as far as you can. And we're going to be pushing. You're going to feel that middle of the back open up. Round it out. And if you twist to your right, you're going to feel your left side stretch. If you twist to your right and keep pushing out, you're going to feel that right side stretch out. Now come back straight. Tighten up the posture. Pinch those shoulder blades together for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now again, round out that back. We're stretching, stretch, and you can alternate right, left with a little bit of a rocking action, a little bit. We're stretching, and also we're contracting, pull it back, now pinch those shoulders together. We're driving blood into that area, into those muscles there. Do it one more time. 4, 3, 2, 1. Push out, round out that back, push, 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 round out that back. Alternate, right, left, whatever feels good. Okay. Contract. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. All right. Now we're going to get into the workout. So let me reset my timer. We're going to basically break these routines up into into 1 minute intervals. And we'll go for about 25. We might be able to make about two rounds through these exercises. Let me just reset my timer. The first exercise is going to be the wall sit. So if you guys have a wall that's available, I'll show you what that looks like. And if you do not have a wall that's available, then we're just going to have to do a squat and hold. And being that it's National Book Week, the idea is, even though we're going to be doing it for a timed exercise, the idea is to read 2 pages. Now, this might be a little bit of cheating because the pages are small, but what we're going to do is the wall sit. Let's see if I can kind of create an angle here. We're going to keep our legs parallel to the ground, keep our back up against the wall, and we're going to go for a minute right here. But otherwise, we could read a chapter, we could read a couple of pages, and that's when we're going to start feeling the burn in the legs. If you don't have a wall that's available, then we would just do a general squat, and hold, keeping that back straight. We're not going to round out our back. We're going to keep the book up around our face and hold. Now we're going to do it for a minute. But if you want to go ahead and start reading, by all means, yeah? So here we go. Wall sit, nice and upright. Open up your book and start reading. Feel those legs start to tremble. Try to go into a happy place. Get lost in the words. Get lost in the narrative of the book, whatever you're reading. Get lost in the subject. Remember not to keep your knees past your toes. You should be pushing through your heels. Boy, oh boy, this is burning. You might start sliding down the wall. Try as much as you can to push against it. If you need to take a break, by all means, take a break and come back to it. When I mean take a break, you stand up, shake your legs out, and then come back to the wall sit. Time. Oh, boy. Woo. All right. Very good. That was the wall sit. Now, okay, for those of us that can do push-ups, this is gonna be the push-up page turner. We'll take out, and I'll give you the variation for those of us who cannot. We're gonna put the book in front of us. Now we're gonna be doing the push-up, as many as we can do for a minute. But what the trick is, we're gonna do 1 push-up, turn a page. Another push-up, turn a page. Now it might not stay open, that's fine. Push-up, turn a page. As we do the push-ups, I like to do the push-up, they call it tricep push-ups, military style push-ups. When we do the push-ups, keeping our elbows in, not leaving our elbows flared out. If we do the push-up with the elbows flared out, we put a lot of pressure on our shoulders. If we do the push-ups tricep style, military style, we engage the chest, we engage the shoulder, and we engage the tricep. So that's why I like this style of push-up much better. For those of us who cannot do the push-ups, we're going to do an isometric alternative. Isometric are these exercises we put pressure. So we're going to do the praying push. So from here, flare your elbows out, and we're going to push together. Yeah, we're going to push those hands together, and we're going to hold that position for a minute, pushing. As you push, you should be feeling your chest engage, yeah? And don't be afraid of pushing as hard as you can, right here. That's called isometrics. Putting a pressure against an immovable object. actually engages and is known, studies have shown, to strengthen up those muscle fibers. Let me set the clock. And very, very impressive individuals have used isometrics to increase their strength. One of them being Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is very well known in using isometrics to build strength. Another example of isometrics is the plank, which is something that we're going to do in a little bit. All right, so that's the isometric, right? So we're pushing. My chest is already starting to burn. There's another group of us that are doing push-ups, right? So I'm just going to switch right into the push-up. Right, keeping that book in front of us. Boom, opening and closing, turning the page if it stays open. Okay. All right. So the next exercise is going to be the Trilogy tricep exercise. If you have access to a Trilogy, take the third book of the Trilogy and set it in front of you as motivation. Otherwise, again, we're going to be working our grip. Take 2 of those books, if it's possible, or if not too heavy, in your hand. And we're going to bring the elbow up, eye level, and we're going to lift and extend the arm in this range of motion for your tricep extensions, All right, so here we go. I'm starting with my left arm, right? And you can imagine this is something you could be doing at the library. You're sitting there in a chair, pick up the stack of books. You need a couple of minutes for your eyes to rest. So you're doing your tricep extensions. Now this is already starting to burn for me. All right, arguably it's not a lot of weight, but the simple motion, the repetitions really start eating into that muscle, start working out that muscle. It goes to show you don't need a lot to really get an effective workout. I'm feeling it in my shoulders, I'm feeling it in my triceps, feel a little bit in my traps too. Well, the lactic acid is starting to build up. Yeah, you need to take a break, and come back to it. All right, 5 more seconds. Woo, starting to burn. All right, my goodness. All right, switching hands, going right into it, elbow up, getting a good grip on those books. Trying to get your elbow pointed to the ceiling as much as possible. Yeah, keeping that upper part of your arm as static as possible, and just flexing, extending from the elbow all the way up. It's pretty simple. The first 30 seconds, no big deal. The second half of those 30 seconds, that's when we start burning. And that's what's important. Being able to find that point of fatigue and pushing through, right? No pain, no gain, as they say, right? We grow through the pain. So until it starts burning, we're not really doing much of anything. Until it starts burning, we're just warming up. Once it starts burning, that's when the muscle's working. That's when the muscle fibers are tearing down. That's when we're tearing it down and building it back up just like a phoenix. All right, good. That one wasn't so bad because that's my dominant arm. My left arm was the one that really was burning a lot. All right, so now the next exercise, we call it the character kicks. The character kick, we're going to get on all fours if possible, right? So for the people who can get on the floor, we're going to, and if you have a book that stays open, right? We're going to do these extensions, these kickbacks, yeah? Kickbacks as they're called. Now the key to the kickback isn't just extending things, but kicking. The magic of these kickbacks is in that last 6-inch area right here, where we're gonna extend the leg and then squeeze. And we're squeezing that lower back, squeezing that glute muscle, and then bringing it back. Squeeze, and then back. squeeze, and then back. Yeah? All right, here we go. Now, as you have your book in front of you, try to name as many characters as you can from that book that you're reading, assuming that you've already made your way through a few chapters. Do you have a Jim? Do you have an Ann? Is there an Emily in there somewhere? How about a Stephen? And try to remember what role they're playing. While you're keeping in mind that you got to squeeze at the top. It's not just about kicking that leg out. That's not going to do much. You got to kick that leg out, squeeze. Kick that leg out, squeeze. Kick that leg out, squeeze. 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 We're almost there. Squeeze. Squeeze. All right. Switching over to the left side. Up and squeeze. Squeeze. How many characters were we able to remember from this book? I don't know. I don't know why the book Animal Farm just popped into my head. So many different characters in that book. I wouldn't be able to remember one of them. Well, I can remember that there's a pig, there's some ducks, some cows, and each one have a role to play in the politics of a farm. All right, keep squeezing, kick out, squeeze, kick out, squeeze, kick out, squeeze, squeeze. Remember to get that last 6 inches, 3 inches, whatever it is at the end. Oh, yeah. You know what? I forgot to give you guys the alternative. Sorry about that. The alternative for the people who weren't able to get on the floor would be standing kickbacks, where we would kick back using a chair to help us. So I'm sorry. I kind of get carried away with the workout. All right. So now we're going to do some literary lunges. What do you think about my alliteration? All right, literary lunges. I'm such a nerd. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, when we lunge, it's gonna be very important. Lunges are this motion here, yeah? When we lunge, we wanna be able to kick this leg back enough so that this opposing knee does not pass our toes. We don't wanna be in this position because it puts a lot of pressure on our knees. So I have two books on my right hand. I'm gonna lunge, I'm gonna kick this right leg back. As I kick this leg back, I'm gonna lift it up and get a little bit of an arm workout here. Pick it up, right, and then come right back up. Then I'm just gonna switch hands, drop this left leg back, yeah? And then we're just gonna alternate just like this. And we do this for a minute, alternating lunges. Literary lunges. All right. I think this would be pretty tough if we do a hardcover Webster's Dictionary or the Encyclopedia Britannica. Remember those? Yeah, that was our version of Google back in the day. Oh. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, everybody, great work. So far, so good. Next exercise is the page plank. Okay, this is for the people that need to be on the floor. Let me start with the folks that are not able to be on the floor. For the folks that are not able to be on the floor, we are going to take our right knee, pick it up, find a little bit of the balance, and we're going to take our torso and turn to the right. So right knee up, turn to the right. Left knee up, turn to the left. Right knee up, turn to the right. You're gonna feel it in your ab, and you're also gonna feel it in your lower back. Try to turn as much as you can. Left knee up, twist as much as you can. That's engaging the whole core. The core isn't just your abs, but it's also your lower back. Yeah. So this is a good alternative or complement to the planks. Now the plank that we're going to do, a plank is another isometric exercise. Now we can do a high plank, which arguably is the harder one, or we can do a forearm plank. Now we're going to hold this position with our back as flat as possible. Yeah? And if you have a book, you can start reading. The book that keeps open, you can start reading, but we're going to do it, we're going to time it. And I'm going to go for the high plank, trying to keep that back straight. We don't want our butt up and we don't want our butt droopy. We want it right in the middle. And we're going to hold it for a minute. Now you're going to start trembling, you're going to start shaking. And that's fine. It means it's working. Might be a good time to go back into your mind and think about, try to synthesize, summarize the chapter you just finished reading. What are some reoccurring themes of that novel? Or is there any foreshadowing? You know, one of the things that I like reading is historically accurate fiction. Historically accurate fiction, like some books that I really liked was The Vampire Chronicles from Anne Rice. She wrote The Vampire Lestat, Interview with the Vampire. She wrote like 5 or 6 or 7. They were remarkable books. They were very entertaining, but I loved them really because they were historically accurate. I got to learn a lot about the Creole culture in New Orleans and in Egypt and the Parisian culture, because she did a really good homework. So that's a good thing about these authors that do a lot of fiction. They do a lot of really good homework for us. All right. Now, so for the people that can't get on the floor, I really like this exercise because it's really, really, really good for the midsection. So for the people who cannot get on the floor, you know, we're gonna have to go back to these knee ups, yeah, because these knee ups are pretty much the best alternative if we want to work core exercises, ab exercises without getting on the floor. It doesn't get much better than this, to be honest. But for this one, what we're going to do is we are going to get on the floor, and these are called scissor kicks, flutter kicks. We're going to lay on the floor, leave our legs out straight, knees locked out, and we're going to kick them up and down in this scissor kick motion. If we want extra, we pick up our shoulders and have our lower back in contact with the floor as we kick, and we hold those books up just like this. Here we go. We get a burn in the shoulders, we get a burn in the abs. Legs out, legs locked out, kicking up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good, very good. Hold the line, stay strong. If you need to take a break, take a couple of seconds, then jump right back into the fire with us. Yeah, start to burn, like the guy starting to build up. Mind wants to quit, you keep on pushing through as much as you can. Good, finding out new levels. Woo. All right. All right, so the next exercise, again, same thing, when we're reading, I get those pains right in between like the shoulder blades, right in this area. But also what I realize is from having looked down when I'm sitting and reading at a desk is the tension in my neck. As a boxer, I train my neck to take blows, but also what I found is that it really helps out when I'm reading. Is, you know, if we don't lose it, if we don't use it, we lose it. So we think that, like, you know, by doing these neck mobility exercises, like as if we're going to get a big neck, as you can tell, I do hundreds of reps of neck exercises, but just body weight. My neck isn't any bigger, so I don't want you guys to think, oh, that I'm going to start doing this and I'm going to get a huge neck. It's not going. That's not the case. Like anything else, we have to. We're going to. This is all about strengthening. It's all about endurance. It's not about bulk. So if you're sitting somewhere, this is you can stay sitting. I'm gonna kneel, right, so I can show you the exercise, because what we need to do, we need to let our neck fall down a little bit, yeah, and then we're gonna lift it up, straight up and down, straight up and down. We're gonna do this exercise for a good minute, straight up and down. You don't have to throw it up. Nice and controlled motion. That's absolutely a key with the neck. Controlled motion. Yeah. Your neck muscles are stronger than you think. If they start burning, don't worry about it. You push through. If you obviously need to take a break, take a break. But if you've not done these exercises ever in your life or at all, you're going to start realizing that neck is going to start fatiguing pretty fast. And if that's the case, you need to do more of these neck exercises. Arguably, it'll help you avoid having those crinks in our neck when we sleep in funny positions. All right, time. Good. Now, same, so we're going to stay here. But now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our neck to the right, come back center, turn our neck to the left, come back center. Now we're going to work as much mobility as we can. Yeah, controlled motion. We don't want to throw it. We're not going to throw this neck into this direction. But when we get here, give it a little bit of a squeeze at the top. Get that mobility in. Come back center. Turn to the left. Turn, squeeze, just like we did with our lower back. Back center, here we go, plenty of time. Up to the right, squeeze, back center. To the left, squeeze, nice and control, center, right, squeeze, center, left, squeeze, center, 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 squeeze, center. All right. Give her neck a stretch. I'm gonna take my left arm, bring it over, touching my ear. I'm gonna pull the neck a little bit, not pull it hard, just a little bit. Relax the neck. That's very important, not to leave any tension in the neck, pull a little bit. Now, ease the pull and allow the neck to come back to center. Taking my right arm, pulling it over the other side of my head, I'm gonna pull. I'm gonna relax the neck, release the tension in the neck and pull a little bit. Just to give it a little bit of a stretch. 3, 2, 1. Now ease the pull and allow the neck to come back center. All right. Good. So see, we have about 14 minutes left. Is that a good time for a Q&A now, or do you want to go?
Is it maybe do a couple more like cool down stuff, and then we can do a Q&A.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's see. You know what? I really like these kickbacks. Well, you know what? I want to show you guys for the people that can get on the floor, and I'm sorry for the people that cannot get on the floor, because like I was mentioning before, this whole thing about, our lower back, our upper back kind of getting sore from reading, a lot of it has to do with if my upper back hurts, sometimes it could be because of my lower back and vice versa. So there is this one pose this one stretch that I really, really, really love, especially having been sitting down, reading, doing a lot of homework or something like that, or just reading at a desk or doing work, is my butt and my lower back start becoming a lot tense. So there's something called the Pigeon Pose, the Pigeon Pose. The Pigeon Pose is a very, very remarkable stretch, especially for those of us that suffer from sciatica, especially as well, but just kind of back fatigue, just fatigue in general. So what I would recommend, what we're gonna do before we get into this Pigeon Pose, we're gonna do some more of those cherry pickers. Do some more of those cherry pickers for a minute, drive some blood into this area here first, and then we're gonna do the Pigeon Pose. So let's do the cherry pickers. Remember the cherry pickers, we're gonna have our legs about 1.5 times as the width of our shoulders, and we're gonna do those 4 count cherry pickers. So it's gonna be up, middle, back, upright, forward, middle, back, up, 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 forward, middle, back, up. And as I'm bending down, I'm trying to hinge at the hips. I'm not bending, I'm not rounding out my back. It's not about rounding out my back. It's really about keeping my lower back flat and hinging at the hips, getting that stretch in the hamstrings, but also protecting my lower back. So I'm sticking my butt out, keeping my lower back as flat as possible, hinging at the hips. My hips act as a hinge.
So coach, quick question. People sitting
Yeah.
in the chair, can they still do this sitting in the chair and try to keep their back flat and then touch the middle lower back on the floor as close
No,
to the
not really. If we're gonna, if people, no, that wouldn't, I would say no.
muscle?
No, so, but the cherry picker, even if you don't have that mobility, yeah, being able to get as low as you can without having to touch the floor and keep it as a 3 count, that's what makes it a dynamic exercise. You're pushing on that muscle. So even if you're not as flexible, if you're here, 1, 2, 3, up, 1, 2, 3, up. I can even still feel it in your hamstrings a little bit. It all depends on your flexibility. But it wouldn't really work in a chair though.
Okay.
So say that again.
Thank you for the clarification.
Sure. And so one of my favorite stretches, and again, sorry for the folks that can't get on the floor, is this Pigeon Pose. The Pigeon Pose, for those of us that have sciatica or have these pains in our back, specifically like in that little lower back area, we get into a push-up position. We get into a push-up position here, and we're gonna pick this right knee up, right? This right leg. We're gonna bring it across our body. We wanna lay on our outside of our shin as much as possible. It's not gonna happen 100%, but we're gonna try to lay it as much as possible. So here we are. I'm gonna bring it out in front, and I'm almost turning that leg into an L. Like this, yeah? All right, so that's my right leg. And I'm going to drop my weight on that leg a little bit, keeping my hands here to lower my weight slowly onto that leg. And I'm gonna feel the pull all on this lower back. Now, I gotta be mindful, I don't wanna be off to the side. My hips gotta be parallel to the ground. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Relax into the stretch. This whole area right here is where I feel it, especially in the glute, which is one of the biggest muscles in our body. And if we have a tight glute, it causes us to have other problems in our back. All right. 3, 2, 1. We're gonna push up off the ground, kick that leg out, kick the other one in,
slowly lower our weight. This knee is gonna be underneath my left pec. And I'm gonna slowly relax into that stretch. Deep breath out and relax that glute muscle. Once that glute muscle is nice and relaxed, not yet for me, you bring those arms up over your head and allow the weight of your body to stretch out that glute. And be mindful of releasing that pressure, releasing that tension in that muscle. Allow that muscle to stretch. Relax. 3, 2, 1. Bringing our hands back into a push-up position. Push, kick it out. Bring the first leg back in. Get a deeper stretch on this one. Should be a lot easier. All right, lower that weight onto that leg. Bring your hands up over your head. Three, 2, 1. Hands up in the push-up position. Push up, kick out, bring the other leg in. Lower that weight onto that leg. Bring your arms over your head. Okay. Relax into that stretch. 3, 2, 1. All right. Push up, kick out. Let's stretch our calf muscles from this position. So we're in the push-up position. I'm gonna bring my left leg over my right Achilles, and I'm gonna push back, trying to get my right heel to touch the floor. So there's a little bit of a rocking motion here. I'm gonna rock my weight back and hold it, and push. It stretches out my calf muscle. All right, rock it forward, switching the legs. My right leg over my left Achilles, rocking back, pushing the heel down. Three, 2, 1. All right. Walk those feet forward, nice and easy. Stand up. Now we are going to last exercise, last sets of exercise. We want to incorporate our shoulders a little bit into this. So mobility is important. So arm circles are really good for mobility, assuming that you guys don't have any rotator cuff issues or shoulder injuries. So controlled, don't whip it around as much as you can. Big circles forward with the right arm. Yeah. Big circles forward with the right arm. All right, Tammy, hold on to that question. Don't let me forget. So we see, I'm already 15 seconds in, and just doing these arm circles, I'm feeling the burn. That lactic acid is starting to build up. So a lot of these exercises, you know, they might seem simple when you think about them. Yeah, what am I gonna gain from that? But no. Even the most insignificant seeming exercise actually start driving blood into that area, start working that mobility, we're strengthening up the shoulder here. We're strengthening up the rotator cuff by this little simple, let's use a big bookworm word, is innocuous motion. Yeah, but we're actually doing work here. This is actually doing work. My arms are burning. All right. That was tough. Now, we're not done with this arm. Now we're gonna hit it backwards. Big arm circles backwards. Big arm circles backwards, yeah? Mindful, controlled, yeah? It's not about whipping it around, yeah? Because the rotator cuff, the shoulder is sensitive, you know? It's limited. arguably, and it's, you can't hit a perfect circle, but even still, look at that. I'm 30 seconds in, it's starting to burn. If you need to take a break, by all means, take a break. We're driving a lot of blood into this area. Yeah, really important when we're at the desk reading, we're at desk working. Our shoulders, our neck start getting really, really, really tense. And one of the counterintuitive things is, we want to stretch it, we want to move it, but we actually need to fill it up with some blood. Yeah, we need to fill it up. We need to warm up those muscles. We need to warm up those tendons. And then we work the stretch into it once it's gotten nice and warm. All right, now we're going to switch to the left. Big arm, circles forward. So Z, this is definitely something people could be doing on their chair.
Yeah. Yes, most definitely. And we do have a question. Once in a while, when I got to turn my head, it almost seems like it locks. My head will not turn and it hurts badly. I can be laying down or sitting or standing. It only lasts a minute. Any ideas why? Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot of it has to do with the weaknesses of the muscles compared to the joint and the vertebrae. The alternative, if you're able to lay down on the bed, as opposed to having that twisting motion, is actually having a flex motion. Because that twisting motion, if the muscles are not strong yet, there's kind of like a lot of intermingling of these of the muscle fibers and your vertebrae and that kind of stuff. So I'll show you an alternative when you're laying in bed. Now we're gonna hit the arm circles backwards. Oh yeah, the battery acid in there now. So see, these workouts don't have to be all about jumping around. We could build up strength, we could build up mobility, we could build up endurance from these small movements, small but arduous movements. Yeah, I got a nice little pump in my shoulders from those already. All right, so for the question about the neck exercises, yes, I absolutely. And I kind of was holding off on wanting to show this example because I didn't want to put people on the floor. But, right, so working out your neck is really, 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 really important. It's overlooked. But if the turning of the neck, I can feel a lot of cracking, this kind of stuff. One of the exercises that you could do if you're on the floor or in bed, lay on one side, look as forward as possible, and just tilt that head, pull it forward. Yeah, I don't know if you can see me properly right here. So we'd be doing center, up. You want to pull your ear to your shoulder, in other words. Yeah, pull your ear to your shoulder. So now that way we're not rotating our neck, but we're working on those neck muscles to get stronger so that maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months from now, you can do the neck turns without feeling so much discomfort because now you've built up your neck muscles enough. Yeah, so and then obviously we switch over to the opposite side and same thing. You can drop it all the way down, but center is fine, center. Pick up the ear to your shoulder, center, pick up your ear to your shoulder, center, pick up your ear to your shoulder, center, pull your ear to your shoulder.
Coach, we had a question. Can you sit on a chair and do to the side as well?
You can. It's just going to be a little bit like, if you're going to do that, then I would say kind of like probably you'd want to rest your arm on something, just because I'm like ergonomically, like how, I guess you could do it this way, I suppose, yeah. Okay. But yeah.
Right. And then we also had a question. Is there any exercise that can be done for sciatica if you can't lie on the floor? I know that if you can lie on your back in bed, you can do like a number 4, like you put like one leg out and then the other leg, like you put it like over your knee to make a number 4. and stretch. But what happens if you can't lie down or you can't, be on the floor?
Yeah.
Any type of exercise.
Well, those bed exercises, I mean, arguably people can get into bed. I mean, a lot of the sciatic exercises are really good from bed. But to your point, yeah, like, so the one that I like for sciatica that's really good while we're standing up is this kick back and kick out. The kick out especially. So the kick back is straight back, but the kick out is when we kick out at a 45-degree angle,
Uh-huh.
and you feel it right here, right where that sciatic nerve meets that lower back,
Okay.
and you squeeze up. But one combination I like to do is back, out, back, out. But that out is what hits that sciatic area right there, right in that channel, boom, that out. So it's not back, it's out. Let your heel take you out. But in bed, to your point, that same exercise, we pick up, so I'm leaning on my left side, I have my left leg bent. Kick that right leg up, drop your foot a little bit so that your toes are pointed down, the heel, bring it back. Again, at that 45-degree angle. And it doesn't take many reps of this before your lower back and that upper butt cheek to really start feeling it. But if you can't get on the floor, then those kickouts work wonders. So it's not back, although the back one is good, but you're gonna feel the back one more in the lower back area. But the kick out is what hits that sciatic area, that glute area.
Hi, everyone. This is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis and Barbara from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Westchester County Legislator Ruth Walter, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.